Well, of course, at the top of the agenda here is the important bilateral strategic and military cooperation between the two countries. And that means, of course, Syria, particularly in the northwest province in Syria of Idlib, where both sides, both Russia and Turkey, need each other's cooperation. Turkey has military observation posts in that strategic parts of Syria. And of course, Russia exerts a significant amount of control and influence over the Assad regime's air force and its military forces on the ground, which many believe may be posed to invade Idlib for a military operation there. So that cooperation between Ankara and Moscow on how to peacefully deal with that situation is absolutely going to be critical to avoid a humanitarian catastrophe in Idlib province, which would result if the Assad regime forces launch a mass military campaign there. So, of course, Turkey has influence over the significant amount of the rebel forces in that province, and Russia, of course, has its proxies with the Assad regime. So that dialogue between the two countries will be crucial to resolving that situation and that important part of Syria, and to maintain the de-escalation zone and to ensure the safety of the displaced Syrians have been forced out of their homes in that area. So a critical issue between the two countries. And of course, Russia will start delivering the important S-400 integrated air defense missile system to Turkey by 2019. That's very important for Turkey, which currently needs an integrated air defense system to guard its airspace. Of course, Turkey is in a very rough neighborhood. So a lot of important military and security related issues in discussions in Moscow between Turkey and Russia.
And adding some further complexity to those security issues, Oubai, we know that Russia has been in discussions with the United States about a strategy to move Iran out of Syria. Has Turkey had anything to say about those discussions?
Well, that's going to be perhaps more difficult. Now, of course, Turkey does have a really positive and strong bilateral relationship with Iran, but it's one thing to talk about Russian influence over the Assad regime. It's another on whether or not the Russians have that ability to influence Iran. Iran has a significant amount of forces, both irregular forces and regular military forces in Syria. Of course, the Iranian Revolutionary Guards and have a lot of influence over the Assad regime and some of its affiliated militias in Syria. So that's going to be a big sticking point on whether or not Moscow will have that level of diplomatic capital, as it were, with Tehran to convince Iran to move its forces and its militias outside of Syria. We'll have to wait and see on whether or not that happens, but that's what makes Turkey so strategically important in the region, its relationship with Tehran and its relationship with Moscow, and that really what makes Turkey's position in Syria so important, both for regional security and for the humanitarian situation in Syria as well.